Welcome to the Point of No Return podcast, a show at the intersection of technology and strategy. On this show, we interview industry leaders and experts to better understand how they think about strategy during this time of exponential progress.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Point of No Return podcast. I'm your host, Nectar. On today's show, I spoke with Marie-Pier St-Hilaire, CEO of Edgenda. Marie-Pier is a, natural-born entrepreneur. She's been doing this for 20 plus years, where she started a company at the age of 21, right out of school, or right as she was finishing her MBA, and basically built it up to a 170 person company with $24 million in revenue that is really reshaping its industry. And Marie-Pier was super open and transparent in terms of obviously the numbers like I just mentioned, but also how she organizes her time, how she prioritizes, how she delegates. And we got into the weeds a little bit as to how she thinks about work and as CEO, how she divides her time, which I think is very useful for really people in almost any position. We spoke about the strategy that she's been using to grow, the importance of education that it played in her role, which has been different from past guests who some people have said the college is worthless, and people like Marie-Pier swear by it, and you could really tell that she really values education, where she's still doing it. She's doing a program in the London School of Business, which is very interesting considering, she's obviously busy with her time. We spoke about a lot about her company, Edgenda, and how she grew. She's done some acquisitions and where they're looking to take it. And then talked a little bit about the industry and where she wants to take her service offering in relation to growth in the training sector. Honestly, I enjoyed this conversation. Marie-Pier was a blast and was super open, like I said, and generous with her insights. And I really hope that you enjoy today's conversation. Marie-Pier, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Hey, hi. Nice to meet you, really.
Nice to meet you as well. So yeah, I was happy our mutual acquaintance, Marie-Josée, introduced us, and I'm glad that you took the time to be on the show today.
Yeah, she's a fantastic woman that I've known since my Harvard alumni program. And I like her really much. And she's doing pretty well with her company as well, so it's good.
It looks like it. It looks like it. So yeah, I'll invite people. I'll link to the show notes, but you can listen to that episode. So I'll be
for sure.
a little self promotion. So yeah, Marie-Pier, in preparation for today's interview and today's conversation, obviously reading up about what you're doing and at your current company. Before we get to your current company, I wanted to go zoom back out to the early days, and maybe for you it's going to be very early days because you've had a long track record of entrepreneurship, of starting companies. So I guess my first question is, when did you start your first company?
And that's funny that you're talking about that because for me, it's been a while, but I could say that my first company is still the one that I'm working on right now. So I was 21 years old. I was just finishing my degree and I opened a training center that was selling Excel and Word training. That's it. To Desjardins for 80% of my revenues. So that was my first adventure in training and in business at the same time. But before that, when I was 10 years old, I just wanted to make money. So I was having a contract with Le Soleil and Le Journal de Quebec. And I was passing newspaper in the morning and I was taking my brothers to do it and stuff. So it's been a while. I'm an entrepreneur, but I didn't know that was called like that. It's weird. I just thought that I was just, doing my job, making money on services that I was offering. And after a while, after 25 employees, I decided that I was an entrepreneur. So 2 years after, I was around 23, 24, and I got scared because I was I have responsibilities now over people. So what's wrong with me? What do I do with that? So that was my start.
Yeah. And 21 is an early age also to have, I guess, your first company. What do you think led you to that? Is it something that you always wanted to do? Did you know,
Never.
In your teenage years that, hey, this is something I'm going to, as soon as I get out of school, I'm going to start my own company? Or what led you to actually to launch that first and I guess only company that's since grown? And we'll get to that.
Yeah, it was my dad. My dad decided that it was not a good idea that I did my MBA in Vancouver. So I did half of my degree in Vancouver, and I called him and I was like, you know what? I love this place so much. I'm going to stay forever. I have my friends and stuff. And like at one point, he just called me back like 1 week later saying, you know what? I found a condo for you. You could do your MBA. You could start a business. Like you could like do like Word, Excel training with trainers and blah, blah, blah. So I was just curious about it. And it was my dad. So I trusted him, but I didn't understand that at that time, he just wanted me to come back, So it's how it started. I never saw myself as an entrepreneur, never saw myself at that. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like doing this business degree because it was, global. With business degree, you can do whatever you want. And I took IT as an option instead of like, accounting or marketing or stuff that are more straightforward. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And after I started to sell those like classes, those training and stuff, I just got in love with the business side at the same time with the education. I didn't see myself as a trainer or a teacher at school and stuff. So that was a perfect mix between business, making money, and at the same time having a training center. So it's just how I started. And after I just kept going, and it went like big and opportunities after opportunities. I started to open Montreal. I started to buy companies to go faster, or like to have new territories or new services. And now I am with this company, like we are over 170 people and over like $24 million. And we're one of the biggest PME, small medium business in Quebec. And I just, I feel a really huge gratitude instead of just saying I worked for it, because I'm surrounded by really cool people and really smart people. Sometimes they are like smarter than me for sure, because they're more specialized and they are here for the journey. They're not just here for money. They want to grow this business as much as me. So it makes me really happy.
Yeah, I can relate a little bit to the imposter syndrome of having smart people, and you're like, why are these people here?
Exactly. You're like, why are these people working for me? It's because they are not working for me. We're working all together for this, amazing goal that we want to achieve. So that's really different. And I think it's another kind of leadership that is pretty new in the field that we train and we help the other organization, our clients, to go there. And like, we do like pilots on ourselves. It's a big lab here to understand how to, run and grow a business, that the culture and the way that we grow and we manage is different. So
yeah, it's a fantastic growth story. And maybe one kind of deep dive into your company is going back to school. So what is the value that you obtained, or maybe what would you say, looking maybe now since it's been a few years, the value of the degrees in education that you got in related to your journey?
I understand now why I did that. I didn't know before. It's like, synchronicity. Like Steve Jobs was like taking so much different classes, and finally it gave him the ideas with the iPhone and the good calligraphy and stuff. So I feel a bit like that. I did a degree in business. At the same time, my option on it was IT. I did an MBA in business electronics, so e-commerce, and I'm using it really, really hard right now. And my option courses was e-learning, so you can see how it's related with my job now. And after a while, when I was not enough like strong, I could say, because I was too young. I was a woman in a man industry, selling those strategic consulting. I needed like something stronger. So I found that with my Harvard EMBA. It's called OPM. It's for Owner President Management Program. So I always say that it reset myself to be a better leader and to understand how to manage my business in another way and to attract better person, not better person in a way that my people were not good enough. Better person to, position an international firm instead of a local Quebec City firm. So the mix of the people who grew the business at the same time, then those people with different experiences bring this amazing journey and this amazing business. So it's kind of a mix of everything that I got in my education mixed with my experiences. And I decided to do a London Business School as well. I started 1 year ago. So I want to understand how British people are doing businesses, not just American and Canada. So with that, I'm going to just complete, the circle of how we educate the people, how we manage companies, how we can help them grow. Because what I do is I transform businesses, team, and people. So I really need to understand how, brains are working at the same time, then how a business is working to make money and to grow and to manage it in this disruptive industry and market right now. So education for me was the key, really, really a key. And I cannot stop because I think it's part of my own brand that I'm overeducated at one point. I just don't have any doctorate. I don't have PhD, but I hired those amazing PhDs that are working with me now. So it's, complete myself and I complete them with my experiences.
Yeah. We're going to bounce all over the place because it's like, okay, you just killed all the set of questions I had.
Sorry about that. I do that all the time.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So the thing that comes to me is okay, you're managing a 170 person company. Your mother, you're traveling between Montreal and Quebec City.
Yeah.
And now you started a new program. So what is the grid or the decision matrix that you use to prioritize? So how do you prioritize your time? What did, the famous 2x2 matrix, right? Like the urgent and important. So curious as to what's the tip that you use to say, okay, what am I going to work on today? What am I going to, prioritize when it comes to extracurricular, continuous improvement, the program that you're taking. So curious to hear you on this.
I'm getting better. I'm not super good at that because I love to, work and to live in a certain chaos. Chaos for me means creativity, innovation and stuff. And so I'm always surrounded around a lot of projects that are not started yet and stuff. But what I figure out those last 3 years, because it was just too much, is first I use colors in my agenda. So in my Outlook, I use colors. So green is personal colors. Yellow, it's Skype meeting or a phone call that I can do in my place at home. Orange is Quebec City. Blue is Montreal or other else. So I can manage colors to be sure that I don't have too much blue or too much red, and my assistant is doing the same. So that helped me really, really much because I visualize now the tons of, responsibilities that I'm putting on myself, included the traveling and including that I don't have any green this week, so I'm not taking care of myself. So that's the first things that I did. And we are talking about a lot about the me time right now in the industry and stuff, and it's really not overrated. For me time is really important, is as important as taking time with families and with your husband or your wife and whatever, because it's where I can create space in myself, like in my brain and in my heart. It's weird that I'm talking, I feel I'm talking really spiritual, but that's the way. So I create space to be more patient and to be more focused on what is important for me, for my family, and at the same time for my business. And with my business, after 55 hours weekly, I ask myself, it would if the hours that I put it more was worth it. So is it because I'm just too tired? I'm not focused. I answered or I did micromanagement with some part of my team or some part of my business. Do I need to fix something or do I start too much projects? What's about? So if it's too much project and I know that in 2 weeks it's going to get better, it's okay. If I micromanage too much, I'm asking myself, is it me going there? Because, I'm the entrepreneur who funded the company. So it's really easy to say, it's going to be faster. I'm going to do it for you instead of coaching the person that is on, the chair doing the job. So with all those KPIs that I just do every week, and I asking myself on Sunday, the next week, is it going to be a really chaos or is it going to be good? And do I have certain times to, just go running or go yoga or do something at one point to just clean my mind? If I cannot do that anymore, I didn't do my job on organizing myself. And if I don't organize myself, my board people, my board management, they won't organize themselves as well. And it's just going to, go and go and go. So we're going to defocus and we're not going to be aligned as a business. So it's not going to be good for anybody. It's the same with my COO. My COO is super strong on aligning everybody. So sometimes I disalign, he disaligns himself. So we talk every day, at least for 15 minutes, just to be sure that we have the same priorities and we don't go there anymore. So that's kind of some things that you do daily now, that I do daily, that it's just, inside my head all the time. And I just, yeah. And if I just let it go and I lose myself on the path, because we are, I don't know, on March, and it's a huge month for us with a lot of clients and stuff. I just stop and I'm like, okay, where can I have a 3 days weekend or a 4 days weekend that I can get back on track?
Yeah, I really like the concept of not just alignment with, your COO, but also you have almost an internal alignment practice that you use to make sure that you're working on the right stuff. And so is it structured that you look at this every Sunday? You're like, okay, the 55 hours at work that I spent, were they productive, and balancing between, like you said, your three priorities of family, personal, and business?
Yeah, usually I do it with my assistant on Thursday. So we try, or if we don't talk to each other, naturally we do it on our sides, each side. So on Thursday, I'm asking myself, next week, all my appointments are they on track with what I need to accomplish? Or I'm doing my time, I'm giving away my time for people, because before I was giving away my time for other people objectives, or because I was too empathic, or because I was too nice and I wouldn't say no, because I'm a lot philanthropic as well. So I give my time and my money for causes that I care. So I needed to, insert that to my agenda as well. So sometimes on Thursday, I'm like, oh my God, I'm just going to lose myself next week. It's not working. So I'm talking to my assistant at that point. We change and we move stuff to be sure that it's on target. And on Sunday night, I just clean my emails, and I need to be sure that when I'm starting on Monday at 7:30 or 8, I don't have something in my mind. I'm fresh. I start and I have 5 big days to just go through everything that I need to go through. And I have objective for the day, and I have objective for the week and for the month. And I do it for the next 3 weeks. So I'm never checking my stuff for just 1 week. I'm overseeing the next 3 weeks as well. So right now I'm overseeing September already. So when you called me or you emailed me, I was like, okay, is it a priority for me? Naturally, I just wanted to meet you. That was from Marie-Josée and stuff. So we find a place because we are able to find it, because we're managing the agenda well. Because if not, I would be already booked and we will talk like later or during vacation and stuff. We need those time to just, answer like good stuff that could be good and not like let opportunities go away because you're too tight. So it's at first it looks really, really hard, but when you start to do that, you feel so free after a while, after like 1-2 months, that you're really focused on your business and you're really focused on your family and everything. So because I run, I do yoga, I need to exercise as well to clean my head and to be in shape. So I need to, be able to do that too. So to be resilient, to just not saying, oh, I don't have time and I'm not going to do it. And, after 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you started to not exercise anymore. That's too easy, So I'm pretty resilient though. It's what my husband is saying to me. Like when it's raining and I'm just like putting my shoes on and he's like, where are you going? And I'm like, I need to go run because we're on Wednesday. And he's like, what? Go tomorrow? No, because tomorrow I don't have time. It's going to be on Friday and it's too far away. So you need to be consistent and, resilient, and you need to have like a focus on the long term and not just on the short term. So not just about pleasure. So it's tough.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. I'm taking notes furiously. I'm like, I need to do these. Oh my God. Like,
yeah.
Well, it also begs the question, since you have so much on your plate, how do you decide what to delegate? Because I imagine you like to be very tight on process, but so that I imagine it must be, or must have been in the past, a struggle to delegate. So curious as to how you do that.
Yeah, delegation is always, we say that it's the key, but at the same time, it's really hard. And it's really hard for an entrepreneur that funded his business. Because, we know the job and we see that the other person is not doing well the job or is not taking the right fast track to do the job. So you need to talk to yourself a lot. And what I decided to do like 3 years ago, I decided to have like a CEO in my business that is going to lead all the people. So there's nobody under me anymore. So I'm free normally of HR management. Why I say normally is because like at the beginning of every year, sometimes we need to grow really fast, like one side of the company or one's like expertise of center, like something that we want to grow really fast. So at one point I'm just taking over and I announced to the people on this team that I'm going to take over and I'm going to manage them. So right now I'm managing our trainers. So it's kind of like 62 people. So it's quite big. So, and I'm doing my job, my CEO job at the same time. But it's worth it because it's helping me to do the job like really quickly. And I coach other people at the same time. So my delegation, I am always asking myself, is there somebody in the company that could do the job? If it's 70%, I'm going to jump on it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it with the person and I'm going to coach them. And if nobody can do the job, so it needs to be me, I'm always trying to have somebody on the meetings with me to coach and to educate, to bring the experience in the company. So that helped me so much. It's my CEO who told me that, who taught me that. He's from like CGI, really good. Like he was doing like, he did 18 years there. He had like 4,000 people under him, like super strong guy. And he helped me so much to just, raise the bar and begin to be like the CEO that Edgenda needs right now to just like keep growing, because we are growing around 25% every year. So it's quite a lot for a service firm. So this group needs a strong CEO, a strong leader to innovate and create new stuff instead of like just working in the business. So I need to work on the business. I still don't work enough on the business instead of in the business, but it's way better than 2 years ago. And it's not because my people are not good. It's because we want to go faster. But I could say like, we're going to grow like 15% and I'm going to work on the business and I'm not going to micromanage some a part of the, of the business, and it would work. It's just best because right now I'm 41 years old. I'm able to give like 5 years, like still like on a fast track. And after that, around 46, I would say that maybe like I'm gonna change my mindset on that. I'm just gonna need, it's gonna be like 25 years of like working my ass off. So I think I'm just going to be on the innovation part and coaching part and self-development and strategic stuff. But right now, I'm still really on it.
Yeah, you're still running the business, and obviously
Yeah.
still right in it. Very, very interesting feedback, Marie-Pier, as to how you do it. I'd like to maybe talk about Edgenda a bit and talk about, you just mentioned a big portion of what you do is training. So maybe I'd like to hear the quick pitch of what you guys are and also where you envision to take the firm.
Yeah, we're from the training. So we like to say that we are a learning solution firm instead of a training center firm. For me, it's really, really different because the industry of the training is sick right now, not just in Canada, worldwide. It's an industry that was more like managed by franchisees with like big manufacturer like Microsoft. Delivering courses to clients instead of like developing and building content. So what we do as a learning solution firm is that we help individuals, team, and organization to develop everything that could be developed to grow their market share, project, or maybe sometimes it's restructuration, new function. We know like there's new career right now, new stuff going on. So we are there for that. So it's 45% of our revenues now because 2 years ago, we started this brand called Edgenda. The learning firm is called AFI. So we've known in the industry and our clients in Canada and in US as AFI, the learning center, the training center, like more like in a traditional way. But 2 years ago, I decided that because we were like already having 40% of our revenues on consulting, and people like didn't know, just our clients that knew, everybody thought in the market thought that we were like a learning firm offering consultant sometimes, but that was not that. We decided to just like open a new brand and like launch Edgenda Group to be this transformation consulting group, including AFI as a division for the learning service firm. That was like pretty smart, seriously, because we kept AFI and the legacy of AFI, but in their strong fields, that is the training and their learning. At the same time, we gave like wings to the consulting part to be more strategic on deals and to be more strategic on like, transformation process, new technologies like AR, machine learning and stuff. And we built this amazing services for leaders. So how to build those new leaders in the market in Canada that will help our clients to grow. So now it's like the group Edgenda Group is around $25 million, and we have 45% of our market that is on AFI side, and it's mixed. So our clients from Edgenda are in our classroom at the same time. And so, we deliver training and we deliver consulting at the same time. But the main point is that we use human and technologies to bring strategically good result to our clients instead of like be two firms consulting on the side. And by the way, you can be trained on the side. So even our consulting part, we don't want to stay forever in our clients. We want to give away our knowledge, our expertise, because we're from the learning side. So we are there for project solution, and after we just go back. we work on other stuff, other innovation, and we come back to our clients. So that's the way that we differentiate ourselves, and it's working pretty well. And what we want to add is called the Project Cristal. My project, they always have like a name of like a good wine or a good champagne. So Cristal is like the good champagne is my favorite. So we want to do a marketplace. So we are building right now the architecture of this learning marketplace that we're going to offer to our client to build on the side, not just on a traditional way, everything about learning. So what we want to do with that is that we want to take care of our client with their strategy, with the consulting part, strategy, process, the human, their human utilization, and the technologies. And at the same time, we want to train and we want to help them to learn by themselves, physically in our 30 classes, or virtually with our marketplace. So it's where we are. So it's like the triangle of consulting, training, and productizing at the same time. So we could have a strategy with recurring revenues as well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, recurring is the key, especially in service, I imagine.
Exactly. Yeah. So I always say that in like 3 years, we will have doubled the company, not on the employees number, but on the revenues and on the margin. We're not counting our success on how many people is working to our place. We're counting our success more about, do we help and do we have a thought leadership on our market and on our industry? And teacher that I love in Harvard just told me 10 years ago something that stayed in my mind forever. If your company disappears tomorrow, is there a hole in your market and clients will be like devastated, or your competitor will just like take the place and everybody will be all right in 6 months? If competitors can take your place in less than 6 months, you're screwed. You don't have the right strategy, or you don't have the right execution to your strategy. You're not like creating values. So you're going to finish like many companies that, the margin is just going down and down and down. And at one point, the business is sick. So it's what I work on like every day of my life. Like, how can I create values to my clients to keep in track that, like, if Edgenda Group is not there, like there's an issue in Canada.
Yeah, I love that saying. I'm going to definitely maybe steal this with pride, but I love the idea of like, if you're not creating value, then, you're going to suffer, and you're going to suffer in a very specific way, as you mentioned, with margin. Have you have plans to grow the business internationally? Do you have maybe already a huge international footprint?
I don't have an international footprint. It's really new to me. So everything that is new, I'm like, for me, it's like, it's shining. I want to try, So with the productizing strategy, with the marketplace, that's our goal. So everything's going to be bilingual and stuff. And Europe for us is a really good point with learning marketplace, French and English and stuff, not just the rest of Canada. But right now, we're not defocusing on that. We are trying to be really stable at the east of Canada, where we're super strong. And we are focusing on the rest of Canada for the next year to be like stronger and to try to be a real bilingual company, because it's been a while that we say that we are bilingual, French and English and stuff. But for sure, we are a French company. We're a Quebecois company that offers services and training in English, So for me, it's really different than being like a all bilingual company, and it's in our process and everything, everything's are bilingual. So I think that's the next step, the next phase that we need to do before like being super strong of like going internationally. So for sure we're gonna do that, because I don't want to retire saying that I had this amazing company in the Quebec market or east of Canada or Canada, but I didn't bring back money from outside of the world to our country. And I didn't do all those, education, worldwide education to just work in Canada. I travel a lot. I love to travel. I'm super open-minded about cultures and stuff. So for me, it's a natural.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, obviously, I'm like taking notes as like a master class on how to run a service business. But I'd like to be respectful of your time, maybe ask you a few questions and really zoom out and talk about your industry for a little bit, because it seems like you obviously know your market. You've been doing this for 20 years now. So talking about maybe the learning market for a second and training market. So we could also talk about IT, because I find it's an interesting juxtaposition as to the different service offerings that you have. So I guess you can answer the question any way you want, but I'd like to know what is happening right now, a key trend in the market that you believe doesn't garner enough attention, that is misunderstood.
Yeah, and I think you're pretty smart. You see how the technologies is like included in our industry as like a learning industry. So for me, it's a key. Human skills and technologies, new technologies for me are mixed on the future of the learning industry as well of the consulting industry. What I mean by that is that before, the learning industry was pretty straightforward. You had like universities, you had primary school, high school, cégep. And after, you had those training centers where you can find like those courses for like 1 day, 5 days. And after, you got e-learning and stuff, but that was pretty straightforward on one skill. So on a task, on the soft skills, or on the tools. Now it's not that. We mixed everything. So what we believe strongly is that our new program is more like a path where you can use your soft skills at the same time that your technical skills and your creative skills. So what we build is a boot camp where you can find that to your next step of like your job, or for your next step in your strategic planning as a leader. So that the difficulty of that is you need to be a learning firm, like pretty strong. You need to be consultant and trainer at the same time, and super strong on expertise with IT and human resources. That's pretty rare. We're the only one in Canada like that, because it's super difficult to build a consulting firm at the same time to build a training firm. It's not the same skills. It's not because you're a good trainer that you're a good consultant, and a mirror of that. So the next step, and I think that the next thing that will happen in my industry on the learning side is training centers they're going to disappear. So what we see is consolidation of all those training centers that cannot live anymore because they just bring too much traditional stuff on the market, and the companies, they don't have time anymore to take those e-learning class or their traditional class. And we have 5 generations on the field, so they all don't want the same. So we need like marketplace. We need few way to keep going on developing skills in the same company, and it needs to be cheap. So it's what we build. We build program that will help new development, new skills, new tasks, a mix of everything, best practices on the market, bringing trainers that have experience on that, and not just trainers that have education background. So it's pretty complex as a business. So it's difficult to copy. So that's the trick. And it's why I'm super open-minded about like doing conference about our business model and stuff, because it takes years to do that. Even one of my competitor, he tried to like buy a consulting firm. He had the training firm and he bought like this e-learning firm to just mix it up together. He had an issue with the culture because you need to transform the culture as well in my industry, in our clients. So it's quite like, it's quite a difficult place to be right now. We're in the middle of that. So we are super good. We have good margin, good growth and stuff, but we really, really need to keep going on developing content and developing offerings on our consult side to still be ahead of this industry. And we check everybody who is like just closing right now or being integrated or, training centers. In Canada, we were 152. Now we are 7. So like I started with 151 other training centers, and now I have 6 competitors. That's it. And I'm the number 2 in Canada. So, and I don't want to be the number 1 because the number 1 is a worldwide firm. So it's more traditional, is answering, like some stuff for clients. It's good, but we want to be the cool kid in town and we want to create values pretty quick. So number 2 is the perfect spot,
Yeah, it's amazing like that. Well, there's so many little tidbits of wisdom I want to like go back and unpack, but I also want to be respectful of your time. We didn't even talk a lot about your nonprofit work. I know you mentioned it briefly. So I'd love to unpack it, but I also just want to respect your time. So maybe if you're open for a round 2, I'd love to kind of like talk about a lot of the work you've been doing with nonprofits, which I find interesting because you're focused not just on the business side, but also about giving back, which I find is important.
Yeah, it will be a pleasure. Giving back for me is part of the deal. Yeah, for sure. And it's part of our DNA here, stronger than ever. So will be a pleasure to talk more about it.
Very cool. Well, I guess one last question for you then, Marie-Pier, would be is where can people find out more about what you're doing and the work that you have?
Yeah, Marie-Pier St-Hilaire it's not a common name, so it's pretty easy to find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm pretty active, and I do some speech like every month for many organizations. So it's pretty easy to find me, and you could find us as well on our 2 websites, Edgenda.com or AFI Expertise.com. There's a lot of content there that maybe could be amazing for you guys.
Okay, amazing. Marie-Pier, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Point of No Return podcast. Never miss an episode by clicking on the subscribe button on iTunes or Google Play.